Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Locks of the Day podcast. This is already episode number 60. I'm here once again with Zach and Andrew. You know what? The NFL season is back. We are absolutely locked in. I'll say it again. We were up over 100 units last season just on the podcast for free, just for NFL. What was our pick on the last night's game? Cowboys plus 8.5. Did it cash? Of course it did. We also had a hammer play, which is a 5 unit play. Javonte Williams over 30 rushing yards. It happened in the first quarter. All right, ladies and gents, you're getting more locks here. We already have the Chiefs and Chargers games covered in the last podcast, so we're going on to Sunday's picks for NFL this week. But we're also bringing you college football bets as well as an NFL TD parlay. A little plus 750, easy cash for the fellas. Now let's get right into these picks for you. Andy, you got the first college football pick of the day. Go give it to them.
Yes, sir. Three-star for college football will be Florida State on the spread. Line's not out yet. Um, I'll make this quick. They're playing East Texas A&M. They ain't no Alabama. FSU made Alabama look like a peewee team. Tommy Castellanos, FSU QB, BC transfer, looked amazing. Um, their FSU defense looked good, and they look like a completely new team. They're definitely not a 2-10 team or whatever they were last year. So, um, the spread's not out yet, so I don't know what it is. Probably going to be high 30s. I'm still going to ride with it. So just lock in FSU on the spread versus East Texas A&M, and Zach will give you a two-star.
So the two-star is going to be Illinois minus 2.5 at minus 110. They're taking on Duke this weekend. This Illinois team is set for college football playoff aspirations. You know, they're pretty much a top 10 team. They returned a lot of their players from last year, and they looked really solid week one. Duke is a little bit better, I would say, but they do have some growing pain. They did lose a lot of players. They had a really good season last year. They picked up Tulane's quarterback, Darian Mensah, and that kid's a really solid quarterback. Could be an NFL player one day as well. But they did struggle against Elon. I think the big thing in this one is that even though Duke is an ACC team, they did get away with playing a very weak schedule last year. And I think you're going to see the same this year as well, that Illinois is just going to have more talent in this one, and they're going to end up taking it. I mean, Luke Altmaier has been a great quarterback since transferring to Illinois, dropped 6 touchdown passes last week. So, I mean, this guy is going to be all over the place. Illinois also brings in a top 25 defense. So, I mean, this team is solid all around. They really give off Indiana vibes like last year when Indiana was just a very good team. They really only played one ranked team all year and they slid into the college football playoff. I think you're going to see the same exact thing this year with Illinois as well. But, you know, they have solid running backs in Aiden Lafferty. They have Hank Beatty as well, another guy, one of their top wide receivers. This team is stacked all around. They have tremendous depth. So they're going to be a great team. I'm not really too worried about them. And this one against Duke, I think this line's just a little bit too low for them. So minus 2.5, minus 110 brings a lot of value as their two-star. So rocking with Illinois.
Beautiful. Now, there's our quick college football picks for you. Get those in once again. Probably free money for you guys. Now, we're going to get right into the NFL week one. Andy, you got a three-star kid? Give it to him. Then I got it too.
Yes, sir. Three-star for little Sunday's games will be Texans money line versus Rams at a plus 140. A little plus money start the season off. But even though Texans are missing a couple key players to start the season, they're ridiculously stacked on both sides of the ball. Defensively, they're probably top five team. They got weapons everywhere. Daniil Hunter, Will Anderson. I mean, the list goes on. Uh, those two guys just they impact the game in just different ways. Hunter and Anderson both finished top 10 in tackles for loss with 17 and 16. Anderson was top 10 in sacks, I'm pretty sure. Those two are just elite pass rushers. They get to the QB, they get behind the O-line so quick. It's just that they're a problem. And Texans secondary is also a problem for defenses or for offenses. Stingley's gross. CJ, GJ, gross. Like, come on, these guys are dirty. Kalen Bullock's insane. Both Stingley and Bullock were tied sixth in the league with 5 interceptions apiece last year. Then you got offense. CJ Stroud, just he's a dog leading the way. Got a great wide receiver group. Nico Collins, Christian Kirk, Dalton Schultz, great tight end. Joe Mixon being out, they scooped up Nick Chubb. Added some O-line. That was their main problem last year. So I think they're in a good spot. Rams are old. They picked up Devontae Adams. He's 104. So it's like add that with Matthew Stafford. He's fucking 204. So I I like the Texans here. New offensive coordinator who is coming over from the Rams. So could have a little inside edge on that offense there. Help the Texans defense out even more, even though they don't really need any help. They're so good. Uh, but I love the Texans money line here at a plus 140 as a 3-star. So lock that in, and Angela will give you a 2.
Love it. Yeah. Derek Stingley, top 3 cornerback in the league, top 5 at the absolute worst if you're crazy. And Nico Collins, top 5 wide receiver in the league. I'll stand by it. I will stand by Nico Collins being top 5 in the league. I won't take an argument against it. Okay. So my 2-star, I have the Carolina Panthers plus 4.5 at a minus 135 versus the shitty Jaguars. I think the Jaguars are completely overrated and are still going to suck this year. And on the other hand, I think the Panthers are an absolutely sleeper team this year. Not saying that the Panthers are going to make the playoffs, but I think they're going to be better than people think, as you've probably heard in our last podcast as well. That's just what we think. Trevor Lawrence hasn't proven to be a stud by any means, and their defense is atrocious. The Jaguars gave up 389.9 yards per game last year, which was the second worst in the entire NFL, and their pass defense was dead last. And they haven't improved at all. Sure, they picked Travis Hunter. He's a backup cornerback on the defensive chart, and he's probably going to play maybe a third of the snaps at the most. So it's like their defense is fucking terrible. I also believe Bryce Young is going to have a solid year this year, one of our futures picks. Thank you, Zach. And I'm a big fan of Ted McMillan, their 8th overall pick. I mean, if you're grabbing a early first-round wide receiver, you got some belief in the dude, and he's like 6'6". He's a fucking monster. He's going to be great. Chuba Hubbard had a good season last year, averaging 80 rushing yards per game. That's a problem as well when your defense is absolutely terrible. I think they were 29th in the league, so bottom 3 in rushing and dead last in defense. Correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, just with how bad the Jags are, you could see the Panthers win this outright. But we're taking it safe, locking a little 2-star. Carolina Panthers plus 4.5 at a minus 135. And Zach, you got to pick as well, my man. Go give it to him.
So the 2-star we got for you, we got Browns plus 5 at minus 110. So taking on the Bengals, this one divisional matchup. Browns are at home. Really do like the value that the Browns are getting in this one. I think the Browns are going to be a more competitive team than people think with Joe Flacco at quarterback. I don't care if Joe Flacco's 41, 42, whatever. He's going to throw the ball a lot. And he's going to sling the rock. And that's what it was a couple of years ago when they made the playoffs. He was 39 years old and they didn't care. They were chucking the ball down the field. They had a good defense. And this team looks really similar. They have a good defense. They're very unproven on offense, but they have a lot of weapons. They kept Jerome Ford, but they brought in Quinshon Judkins from Ohio State. They kept Jerry Jeudy and Cedric Tillman, but they brought in Isaiah Bond from Texas. Yeah, they have Njoku tight end, but they brought in Harold Fannin Jr. from Bowling Green, who was, in my opinion, the best tight end in the NCAA last year. He led the NCAA in almost every single statistical category for a tight end. But because he went to Bowling Green, didn't really get respected when they went up for the tight end awards. So, this team also has a pretty decent O-line, and the Browns always have a solid defense. Their offense has always been their main issue. And if we've noticed with the Cincinnati Bengals, their one issue, they've never changed. Their O-line is still incompetent as can be. We saw it in a preseason game where Joe Burrow was getting killed. And if that's going to happen in a preseason game, it's going to happen all year long. This O-line is not going to hold up for him, and they're not going to be able to stop the Browns' pass rush in this one. And I think the Browns have their work cut out for them at home. First game of the year, you're trying to break the ice, figure out what you need to work on, what you have to do as a team. And, this might be a little bit difficult for the Bengals to get going early. And I think the Browns jump out early, maybe hold on to a lead. They could win this game, and it wouldn't surprise me either. But Browns plus 5 is great value. So we're taking them minus 110 as our 2-star.
Absolutely. Love it. Let's just say this with Joe Flacco throwing the rock for the Browns, their record is totally different than any other QB recently in the past probably 5 years. Flacco, he pads the stats for the fellas. Look at Jerry Jeudy, David Njoku, like you said, Cedric Tillman. Maybe expect a big game out of 2 or 3 of them. The Bengals defense is one of the worst in the league. That's why they're probably not touching their division this year, because their defense just isn't – they can't compete with anyone. Like you said, their O-line's fucking terrible too. But anyways, now we're going to get into our little new segment on the podcast. Very quick, just hammering you the picks. We have a TD parlay. Anytime touchdown parlay. We each make one pick per week, and it will be in the pod. So, Andy, go with your player.
Yes, sir. Give me Kyler Murray anytime tutty plus 200.
Zach, who do you got?
I got Bucky Irving. I believe he is a minus 130 if he's changed. But as I said last year on the pod, we're going to Bucky's. So rolling with him.
Love it. And me, I got Josh Jacobs anytime touchdown at a minus 165. It is the freest money of the week, ladies and gentlemen. That parlay will pay you a plus 750. We are talking Kyler Murray. We are talking Bucky Irving. We are talking Josh Jacobs. Add them all up, plus 750, 7.5 times your money. Thank us later. We'll see you next week with the next one. Thank you guys so much for tuning in on this podcast number 60 for LocksOTD. Once again, see you next week. Peace.